The American experiment. How a revolution created a superpower. Imagine standing on the freezing banks of the Delaware River in the winter of 1776. The wind is cutting through your clothes. Your boots are falling apart. You are hungry, exhausted, and surrounded by an enemy that seems impossible to defeat. You are not a professional soldier. You are a farmer, a blacksmith, a local worker who picked up a weapon because you believed something was worth fighting for. Across the river stands the most powerful military force on Earth, the British Empire. By every logical calculation, this rebellion should have ended before it even began. A small group of colonies fighting against the strongest empire in the world sounded like a guaranteed failure. But history did something unexpected. That small rebellion survived, and the consequences changed the world forever. Because the birth of the United States was not just a war for independence. It was the beginning of a completely new idea. That ordinary people could challenge kings, create their own government, and build a nation around the belief that power should come from the people. But the real story of America is far more complicated than a simple tale of heroes and victory. Behind the famous images of tea being thrown into Boston Harbor and a declaration signed in Philadelphia was a much deeper transformation. A new way of thinking was developing. A belief that the old world of inherited power, royal bloodlines, and permanent social classes did not have to be the future. And that idea was about to collide with one of the greatest empires in human history. Act 1. The foundations of a new nation. Long before the 13 colonies declared independence, the land that would become the United States was already home to thousands of years of history. Native nations had built complex societies, trade networks, and governments across the continent. One example was the Iroquois Confederacy, a powerful alliance of 6 nations that created a system based on councils, cooperation, and shared decision-making. Some early American thinkers, including Benjamin Franklin, studied these systems and were influenced by the way they organized power. But the arrival of Europeans changed everything. When European exploration expanded across North America, it brought new settlements, new conflicts, and devastating diseases. Illnesses like smallpox and influenza spread through communities that had little protection against them, causing catastrophic population losses among indigenous peoples. Out of this complicated and painful history, European colonies began growing along the Atlantic coast. By the mid-1700s, 13 British colonies had developed into something very different from the society across the ocean. Europe was dominated by kings, aristocrats, and inherited status. Our story continues in part 2. Enjoyed the story? Subscribe for more mysteries in history. More secrets from the past are waiting. Subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next mystery.